So Andrea's going to be my seller today, and while I describe this, she's going to stand to be here looking fabulous. So today, the idea behind this is the listing appointment, right? This is you are showing up to actually have the listing appointment with the seller at this point. So what we were talking about and what I've written up here, you can take a picture of this later. We did some broad strokes, maybe you ought to know. This is the house you're going to sell me today. So that
I'm
you
gonna
know.
sell you, or you're
Yeah,
gonna
well,
sell
you're
me?
gonna, I'm gonna list your house. So I've already set the appointment, right? So when I set the appointment, I'm gonna let them know I'm gonna email some things to them for their review. I send them an evite to the appointment, which would have been today at noon. They would have confirmed that. I send them the property disclosures, my seller's packet, and a copy of the listing contract. They already have all this in their email when I set the appointment. Everybody cool with that? So at this point, it is day of appointment. Let's call it like 8 o'clock in the morning, and I'm gonna call my seller, right? So ring ring.
Hello,
Hi, good morning, Andrea. This is Jake Clendenny with Keller Williams. How are you today?
I'm great, Jake, how are you doing?
Awesome. Hey, I just wanted to confirm our appointment for today at 12 o'clock, if that's okay.
Oh, yes, I have it
Excellent.
written down.
Very good. Did you get a chance to review the email I sent you about our appointment today?
Yes, I did, I just, although I didn't really review it carefully, I just printed it out last night.
Okay, but you did print everything out.
Yes, I did.
Okay, very good. So I'm gonna get there a few minutes early. I'm gonna take a few pictures of the exterior, and I just wanna let you know that I'm gonna be out there.
That's great, look
All
forward
right.
to seeing you.
Very good. Is everybody gonna be there? Is your partner gonna be there as well, or do they need to be there?
No, it's just
today?
me,
Okay, and you're the only one on the deed.
me, myself, and I.
Okay, that's perfect. Are you interviewing other agents?
Yes, I am.
Okay, can you tell me who?
Does that matter? I don't know.
Well, you know, it's one of those things that if I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna play a game against somebody, it always helps, you know, the
Mhm.
best coaches in the world don't show up to the Super Bowl not knowing who they're gonna play.
Oh, that's true. Okay, yeah, I'm interviewing somebody at the group and Remax.
Okay, when are you interviewing them?
Probably in the next day or two.
Okay, very good, so you're interviewing them after me.
Yes.
Okay.
You're the first one.
Excellent. So are there any additional questions or concerns that you have that I can sure to be prepared for when I come to the appointment today?
No, I can't really think of anything. I'm kind of curious to go over all the paperwork and hear what you have to say.
Okay, is there anything in specifically that you're curious about?
Yes, I'm wondering how much this is going to cost me and how long it's going to take.
Okay, so you're wondering about, when you say how much it's gonna cost you,
Yes.
back through that with me a little bit. What do you mean?
Well, I'm just wondering how much you charge and what do I get for the money, and can we maybe talk about making a deal?
So you're looking at commission and time on, you know, how long it's gonna take to sell
Yes.
your house?
Mhm.
Okay. So aside from commission and how long it's gonna take, are there anything else that you'd like me to address while I'm come over today?
No, but I can certainly think of a few questions to ask you if you'd like.
Okay, perfect. If you think of them beforehand, please text them over to me. That way, if I need to bring additional materials, I can.
Okay, that sounds great, Jake.
All right, very good. So I will see you at 12 o'clock.
Okay, see you then.
Very good, thank you.
Bye.
Okay, so the things that I review on that specifically is I do want them to tell me, you know, well, if there's something weird out there, right, that I need to be prepared for. Maybe there's something strange in the HOA, maybe there's something weird. At this point, her concerns are how long is it gonna be on the market and what's the commission gonna be, right? That is the concerns that she had. I'm gonna continue to ask that until we have established every single question that we have in that conversation so that I can be prepared when I show up. So that's what that confirmation call looks like. She also told me she printed everything off, but she did not review the paperwork, right? That tells me she's not a high C in the disc profile, because if anybody gets paperwork in their email that's a high C, they have read every single line in that, notated, highlighted, and gone forward with it. So that helps tell me who I'm dealing with when I go on the appointment. Okay?
Engineers will do that.
Engineers will totally do that. So other questions around that phone call? We're good? Okay, we'll move on.
Has anyone had a question like that, or has anyone had anything similar to what he's doing? It's okay to stop him and ask questions.
Yeah, so I'll pause a few different times during this procedure. I mean, I'll basically put my hand up and say, yep, we're gonna take a pause real quick and review a specific spot.
I'm gonna assume you're gonna do professional photographs if you get the listing. Why did you tell her you're gonna take pictures of the outside?
That is a brilliant question. Thank you for asking that. So the reason that I do that, and this is old habit for me, right? And this is let's assume today is Thursday at noon, right? What if she wants this listing to go live tomorrow? And I'm gonna take this listing appointment at 12 o'clock. I have a couple choices. I can either call ahead of time to my photographer, and I can have him meet me at the house at noon to take photos while we're there at the listing appointment. I can also take my good camera there so that I can at least get some exterior shots and a few shots, so that if that seller wants it on the market right now, I can at least get the listing uploaded with those photos while we are getting the professional photos taken after we discuss staging. So that's why I'm taking photos of the outside of the house. I'm also doing it for my file, and I'm doing it for my note-taking purposes. So when I show up at the house for my listing appointment, I have a tripod and I have a big camera. It's like a super cheap, this is my super trick, right? Super cheap, like $25, 3 megapixel camera that looks like a great big Canon camera, professional photo, right? Don't show up with your phone and take pictures on your phone. It looks horribly unprofessional. So you set up outside, you show up, you're dressed, you set the camera up outside with nice light, and you take good pictures. This shows a level of professionalism to the seller that they're not gonna see from Group and Remax. They're gonna show up later and just knock on the door, and maybe they did one of these, a couple selfies in front of the house kind of thing. It just shows a different level. It's a choice for me, coming from the market where I came from. Our photos were challenging to get quickly, so in order to get a listing on the market quickly, I needed those photos. And it usually took a day or two for professional photos. Does that help?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
It's also a good thing to do, I know what I've done, if you have a couple of days prior to your listing, and you go out really quick to look at the neighborhood and look at the house, and take a picture of it, because when you do a cloud CMA, or you do your own type of listing presentation, there's a place where you can drop in a photo of the house. And that just looks even more professional, that you've done some research. So when you hand them something with that spiral bound and has their picture of the house, how it looks now, that kind of knocks their socks off.
Yeah, just a few little tricks. So when I go to the appointment, I'm going to be professionally dressed. I'm going to be wearing my name tag. I am 5 minutes early. If I tell them I'm going to be 5 minutes early with a camera, I'm going to be there 5 minutes early with a camera. I'm going to immediately set the expectations that I do what I say, right? If I tell them on the phone I'm going to be there 5 minutes early with a camera, I will be there 5 minutes early with a camera. I cannot stress that enough, how important that piece is.
Do what you say.
Do what you say, okay? I've already emailed them all of these documents, and I have printed them, right? I have them in our presentation folder. We have presentation folders you can use for yours. Property disclosures, contract, and our entire listing packet for all of our seller stuff is in here, and your business card. This comes with me day of. The intent is this leaves signed. That is the point, and everything that doesn't need signed stays with the seller. Everybody gets that? Okay, we move on? Okay, so I'm gonna show up to the house 5 minutes early. I'm gonna take pictures outside. At this point, I know there shouldn't be another realtor in the house, because she's told me we're interviewing realtors, the group and the Remax, after I interview you, right? So I'm gonna go to the door. For me, I knock on the door, I take 3 steps back. This is an anchor for me. And when I say anchor, and you're gonna see something else that I do a lot, I spin my ring a lot. This is an inadvertent anchor for me, but it's still an anchor. So I take 3 steps back, so I can look at the house, and I can mentally image the house as this is my listing. That's how I approach my listings, is going in that way. So I'm gonna go up, I'm gonna knock on the door, I'm gonna take 3 steps back, and you're gonna answer the door.
Hello.
Hey, Andrea, how are you today?
Hi, Jake.
It's
How are
really
you?
great to see you.
Nice to meet you.
Thanks for meeting me today, I really
You bet.
appreciate it. So earlier, we talked about a couple of questions that you had, and I fully want to address those. In the meantime, we talked about some of those documents that you had. Did you get a
Yes.
chance to review those?
Not really. The
Okay.
dog got out and the kids been running around, so.
Understood. So let's do this. I'd like to take a walk through the house. I'd like to do it on my own so that I can look at it from a buyer's perspective. What I'd like to give you in the meantime is this is my seller's packet.
Okay, thank
This
you.
also has the seller's property disclosures in it. So you're gonna have to fill these out regardless. This is something that the state requires when you fill it out. This is everything that you know about your property. So while I'm doing the walkthrough, if you wouldn't mind filling that out for me, and then we can discuss it when we sit down at the kitchen table.
Okay, and is this something that I need to do right now, or can I take some time to?
You can take some
Review
time,
it?
but if you wouldn't mind reviewing it and just start filling out what you know in the meantime, that'd be helpful. That way we can just review that, and it's just the property disclosure piece that I'd like you to look at.
Okay,
So,
Sure.
okay, great. So I'm gonna take a few minutes, I'm gonna walk around, take some additional photos. Is there anything that you'd like me to know about the house itself that I don't already know?
Have you ever been here before? I'm not sure what you mean by
No,
already
as far
know.
as what you and I have already talked about.
Oh, I see.
We know it's
No,
4-bed, 3-bath,
mhm.
2,200 square foot, unfinished basement, 2-car garage. Are there any upgrades, modifications, things you guys have done?
Yes, I put in a new sewer clean out 2 years ago. I had a new roof installed on the north side of the house, and I've had a radon system installed.
Okay, why did you have the radon system installed?
Because when I purchased the home, the radon came in at 5.8.
Okay, so you did that when you purchased the home?
Yes, I did.
Ah, okay, so that's not a recent, that was
No,
when you
these are
guys
things
bought
I had to do after I purchased the house.
Right after you purchased the house.
Mhm.
Okay, anything else that you've done recently?
No, I've reseeded the lawn,
No, good,
but
okay. So yeah, that's the kind of stuff that we need to put on that property disclosure, is just things that you've done to the house since you've purchased it, that's okay.
okay.
Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and take a walk around for a few minutes,
Mhm.
square that away, and we'll meet back up here in a minute, and we'll start moving forward on answering your questions,
Great,
okay?
thanks.
So now I'm gonna walk through the house, I'm gonna walk through it with that lens of what is a buyer gonna see, right? Because we wanna know what that looks like from a marketing standpoint. So what's the market gonna say about this house? So as a group, we decided we're walking through a 4-bed, 3-bath house, 2,200 square foot finished with an unfinished basement, 2-car garage, southwest Fort Collins and overlook. Price point's gonna be $375 to $425, right? That's gonna be the ballpark of where we're gonna go, right? So this is gonna play out a little heavier in a little bit.
Right, and did you disclose to them where you got that information with your market analysis? And did you remove your shoes? Not to give them a hard time,
And
but
it,
these are
and
things
it is
that I do.
perfectly okay, and yes, during the most of them, and I would have been walking, I probably would have asked. So there's the cue, that's a valid question. If they, that's a good question to ask is, you know, would you like me to remove my shoes today? Generally speaking, I just do. So I
Mhm, okay.
didn't even think of it. So, okay, so
But just
that's,
as a note to them, when you immediately walk in, this is something I do, and if they say, oh, no, you don't have to do that, you just say, oh, no, I just do it as a sign of respect.
yep, that's a good piece. So, okay, questions around that?
You said that you want to walk the house by yourself.
Yes.
It seems like you're missing an opportunity to relationship build, like being able to say to the buyer, oh my gosh, that's such a beautiful painting, kind of personalize your, take the edge off
Yes, it
the
is
formality.
that is an opportunity to build rapport. That's valid. Now, this is how I do mine, right? I walk through on my own because I have a slightly different set of lenses. And I
It's
want them
quicker.
to start looking at this, and it's quicker, right? I can do the whole tour, they can start filling out paperwork while I'm doing the tour, and then I can come back and ask them specific questions about the house while we're right here face to face, and be able to build that rapport at the table. That's when I can ask, I was in your master bedroom, that painting is awesome, where did you get that? You can still ask those questions at the table. It's just one of those moments that, I want them to see me walking around making lots of notes, and I'm gonna write a page of notes. Plain and simple, I flip the page over, I'm gonna write a page of notes going through on this as we go forward.
Another thing that you can do with that, because each client is different, if you walk in and you sense there's a little bit of stiffness or some kind of a problem, what you can always do is explain to people what you're gonna do. Like when you go to the doctor and you get white coat syndrome and you're nervous about what are they gonna do, and the doctor's telling you, I'm gonna do this, there's gonna be a little pinch, or it's not. But they're talking you through it so you know kind of what to expect. What I do with the same sort of thing with Diane Kokos's presentation is, I walk in and I explain, here's what I like to do. I generally like to walk through the home quickly because I look at homes every day, all day long. I can go in like a stealth bomber, look at everything. While you're sitting down and just looking through this, I'll be back in less than 5 minutes, and then we can sit down and talk. Is that okay with you? Absolutely. Once they know that you're not going right upstairs to the medications and the jewelry, and they've never met you before, then if you explain what you're doing, then you can usually get them to agree and to buy in. And then they feel like they have some control and they're not being bullied.
Yeah, and sometimes sellers have a problem showing their house, So I want to see everything, and sometimes sellers will steer you away
Yeah.
from certain
They'll say, oh,
things
don't
in
look
the
in that
house.
room, my son's room is a mess, or something.
Yeah,
You're
there'll
like,
be pieces of it, and I want to see everything from a non-biased view. Tim?
This may have been something I missed earlier. Did you happen to, I know you emailed information, but you didn't drop off a pre-listing packet, correct?
He
No, I
emailed it to
emailed
them.
it to him.
Emailed it,
I set the appointment, I didn't drop it off. I emailed it to them, and the reason I do that is that's a profiling piece for me.
Okay.
Because that's gonna tell me, did I look at the CMA? I meant to write that up there as well. I'd already done a CMA on this house. I drop off the CMA, I drop off the property disclosures, our entire seller packet, and a copy of the listing contract. And that is all in the email that they get after the e-bite. And then I
Okay.
bring it with
Okay.
to the listing presentation.
Okay, it says that because she didn't look through anything, she didn't fill out the property disclosure.
No,
Yeah.
what I had said was that I
Right.
received the email, and I printed it out, but I hadn't had a chance to look at it.
Right, so
okay.
it kind of tells me, a little bit about motivation, it tells me a little bit about who I'm playing with. It helps me to profile who I'm working with, so I have a little bit different approach. Because if I'm gonna have an engineer that is gonna go, yep, I reviewed all of these things and I've made some adjustments to the contract and I've done this, 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 and this, I know to change my CMA. Right, this is one of those tools that all of a sudden I'm gonna show up with the single most detailed CMA I can possibly create in order to the happiest thing you can do to a high C and a engineer is bury them in data.
Info sparks.
Yeah, you can, and that's how I'm gonna approach it.
So instead of a 4-page MCA, the 20-page.
It's gonna be a
The
book.
16-page it'll print out.
It's gonna
just
be a
on basic.
book when I show
Yeah.
up with it. Yeah, I've done some additional research, right?
And I have some numbers here for you.
Right. It changes the rules of who I'm messing with. That's why I do it that way.
Okay.
So that's a personal preference, again, modify it as you see fit. Other questions around where we are thus far?
How would you respond if Andrea was like, "Oh, I don't want you to go around my house by yourself. I'll just give you a tour later."
Okay.
If they weren't comfortable with that.
Well, I really need to look at the house now, because obviously that's gonna affect what our price point's gonna look like. So in order for us to come to a point on price, I'm gonna need to see all the features of the home. I'm happy to let you show it to me, and that's okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Or again, you can explain, well, the reason I asked to do that is because I can go through quickly and not be influenced by what you're looking at through your eyes and what I can see through my eyes, because I'm looking at basic structure and size of rooms, layout. Give them a reason why you might be looking at it differently. But then agree with them, well, that's okay, if you're not comfortable with that, how about if I just take 2 minutes? Or why don't we sit for just a moment, get acquainted, but then say, after the 2 minutes, let me get up and
Yeah.
get them to buy into what you're doing and not have any,
Right.
and then overcome some objections. There may be a reason why they don't want you to do that.
Yep, and that's exactly what
And then
that
you
is.
could totally, ask them to tell you more. Oh, is there a reason you wouldn't like me to just run through quickly? I understand you have time constraints, or maybe you'd like me to, sit with you for a moment, have a cup of coffee, get to know each other. What are you more comfortable with? This is what I normally do and why I do it.
Mhm.
Is that okay? No? Okay, how about if we negotiate a little bit? And then get them to buy in.
And in all honesty, I can think of maybe one time that's ever happened.
Mhm.
Typically, as you come in, you say, this is how I like to do it, and this is why. You're already in the house, they have buy-in to let you there already.
Mhm.
I've not had to handle that negotiate. I can only
Yes.
actually think of one time that the seller adamantly wanted to show me the house.
Are either of you two taking a swag bag, sodas, something for the kid, things of that nature?
I never do.
No, that
You
might
don't
be a
have-
little
okay.
creepy.
No, I do.
Once you get to know them, perhaps.
Yeah, that's a little different. I have
Yeah.
never done that. I
Okay.
take the list, this is a business
Yeah.
appointment, plain and simple. This is not I need to win you as me.
Yeah.
This is, you need to understand I'm here to sell your
Yes.
house.
You're a professional.
Mhm.
I mean, when you go to a doctor, yeah, they'll give you a lollipop afterwards. But you don't want to tie a pork chop around your neck to get the dog to play
Yeah,
with you. You
that's
want to
valid.
be the professional and be somewhat in control. This is who I am, this is what I do, and this is why we do it.
Right.
Again, I use a lot of medical analogies. When you go to the doctor, you don't say, no, I want you to look at me here in the waiting room first, and maybe I'll, or, no, I'm going to sit in the chair, not on the table. I'm not putting that paper gown on. This is what you do. You're coming into the situation. This is how we play this game. This is how the rules are.
Okay.
Yep, okay. Okay, so moving on, so now I'm gonna be done with I'm gonna take lots of pictures, I'm gonna take lots of notes that we can review, and now we're gonna come back, we're gonna meet at the kitchen table, so. Okay, so Andrea, tell me, did you get a chance to go through this property disclosures? while we
Yes,
were-
I did. I kind of
Okay.
breezed through it quickly.
Okay, and like you said, that's just gonna be something we're gonna have regardless, because you're selling your home. That's just the rules, we just have to have that filled out, you know, and that's a value piece for you,
Mhm.
that regardless of who you go with, you'll just have to do it. So at your convenience is fine, and I can help answer questions with that in the meantime,
Okay.
as we
I
move
was
through
kind of
that.
concerned about one thing. I see here it's asking yes, no, maybe. I mean, there's some things that I don't know. Is this like the SAT? Do I have to answer all these? If I don't know the
And
answer, what
there's-
should I put down?
If you don't know the answer, that's the checkbox for do not know. And that is okay, and this is, like I said,
Okay.
this is all about what you do know about the property as the seller.
Okay. So
Just
it's
things
kind of like a snapshot in time. I'm just sort of putting
Yeah,
out
that's exactly what it is.
a
Yeah,
CV.
of the things
Okay.
that you've done. So, okay, other questions around that?
Gosh, no, I didn't really look at anything else. I'm
Okay,
just
and you're okay.
kind of excited.
That's not a
Go ahead.
problem.
We'll just let you.
So yeah, I mean, on my notes, I saw the house is in great shape. I really did.
Oh, thank you. I think it's a mess.
Yeah, you guys, yeah, I think the house is in great shape. Would you mind talking about staging just for a minute?
What do you mean by
What do you
staging?
mean by staging? Fair question. So staging is, we want to set the house up so that it really looks like, as a prospective buyer walks in, that it's their home, okay?
Okay.
The reason I say that is when I went downstairs, you have that beautiful wall of your family, and there's about probably 975 photos of your beautiful family on that wall.
Mhm.
If I'm a prospective buyer walking in, I have a hard time seeing myself here. In that regard. So that would be one of the things from a staging that we would probably want to go ahead and get all that packed up and
Okay,
put
so
away.
take everything off the walls and put everything
Not
away?
necessarily everything, but all
Okay.
of the personal things, you know, things like your family. You can leave the dog pictures, those are cool. I would never tell you to take the dog pictures down. And, you know, all the pictures of the grandkids and things,
Mhm.
it'll help a buyer see themselves in the house a lot better. in
Okay,
that
yeah, I
regard.
can do
So-
that.
So
That'd
that's
be
one
easy.
of the things. There's a little bit of clutter that's in there
Mhm.
as far as, and what I mean by that is there's a lot of bronze figurines and statues and things like that we could reduce a little bit to help show the space in a little bit bigger space.
Okay, is
a
this
little bit
something you
bigger
want
area.
me to do, or I guess I'm
So let's
I'm
let's
just
talk
pretty
about this.
stressed about all this packing, and I do have kids, and they're coming and going, and
Okay.
I
so,
knew this would be a problem. I had a friend of mine tell me I should put up candy dishes and potpourri and all this other kind of stuff, and we're just not
well,
into that.
and that's cool. That's not a problem. And you don't need to make it more stressful than it already is, right?
Okay, good.
So let's talk about. Let me ask you a couple other questions. And I'll come back to that. Is that okay?
Sure.
Okay. Have you used a realtor before?
Yes.
Okay. How was that experience?
That wasn't great.
Okay. Can you tell me why it wasn't?
Well, I had trouble communicating with him. He wouldn't return phone calls, or he wouldn't check in, and
Okay.
I just wanted to know what was going on and if there was any feedback, and
Okay.
I would usually call him and leave a message, and maybe he'd call me back, or I'd get his assistant.
Okay. Did you guys have a schedule set to where he would follow up with you, he or she? I'm sorry, I assumed.
It was a
Um,
he. No,
Didn't have a schedule
no, I would
set.
just call him and say, so what's, you know. I would try to call him after a showing to find out if they were interested or not, and then he would email me some kind of a sheet about what they'd said. Some people are a little
Okay.
harsh.
So let me ask you this, so after every showing that you have on your house, after you
Mhm.
get it listed, would you want me to call you and give you the feedback immediately after every showing?
Well, maybe not every showing. I don't want to seem like I'm a
Okay.
nervous seller, but just to kind of get some feedback, or to know how did it go. I
Okay.
also had some situations where they would schedule a 2-hour appointment, and I had to clean up and have the kids out, and then people wouldn't show up or leave a card, and I would wonder if somebody actually came through the house or not.
Okay, so let me ask you this, if I followed up with you twice a week
Mhm.
during the process, if we said Wednesday at noon and Friday at noon,
Mhm.
I'll call and let you know what the process has been between there, would that be
Yeah,
okay
that would be
for you?
good. I think I'd like that.
Okay, very good. So I can make sure we get that scheduled for after we get the paper signed.
Okay.
So, okay, so I took a lot of notes about a lot of things, and those were the only things that I really saw. You had mentioned to me earlier that you had a new roof on the back of the house.
Mhm.
You mentioned that you put a radon test in, or that you put
System,
radon in
mhm.
because it measured a little high. That's all well and good. Do you have the test results from that radon test still?
I think I do. I kept everything in a packet in a file
Okay,
cabinet.
and that'll be beneficial to have
Okay.
for when we build the home book.
Okay.
At that point, we're gonna be able to put that in there, they'll understand what that is, and if they ask for an additional radon test, we
Mhm.
can supply them with the previous results. That may take care of that, and we may not have to pay for an extra test. So,
Okay.
helpful to keep that stuff.
But once
so
you have the
good for you.
system in, isn't it, it just works, or?
Yeah, they just work, and because they're gonna see the system, in this
Mhm.
market, a lot of times you're gonna see buyers ask for a radon test,
Mhm.
and having those additional results is really gonna help. And we'll
Okay.
just post it publicly.
Okay.
so that they can see it. Okay, great. So I really didn't see anything, aside from we just need to do some staging work in there and help the buyers.
Okay.
Just, we have a ton of unfinished square footage downstairs, open
Mhm.
space. They can really do a lot of things with that. A lot of people are looking for that, so they can build equity in their home. That's a great value in your house. And at the same time, they're gonna look as the upstairs as a little bit small for possibly what they're looking like in this neighborhood.
Mhm.
So that's why I say some of the extra stuff we should plan on moving out. Let's talk about your motivation for moving. Where are you moving to?
I'm relocating,
Okay, where are you going?
going to Seattle,
Going to Seattle. Cool. What
Mhm.
takes you up there?
job change,
Really?
Yep.
By choice or by force?
promotion.
Promotion. Good for you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Very cool. When do you need to be up there?
Well, the movers are coming to pack and have everything, they're paying for my move. So, as soon as I can sell a house, I'd be in great shape. They do offer a relocation package with my home.
Okay, I was gonna ask you about that. You
I
said
just threw that in
they're
there.
paying for that. So let me ask you this, the company that you're moving through,
Mhm.
when they have a relocation company, are they suggesting that you go with specific realtors? Because a
Well,
lot of
I
times they
haven't-
do.
I haven't researched that yet, they just offered that to me, that if my home does not sell, that they would offer to take it over and to purchase it.
Okay,
And, or
Okay.
have somebody take care of it so I don't have to stress about it. But I told them this market's pretty hot, a lot of my friends have said houses are selling fast for a lot of money, so I feel pretty confident that I can do it.
okay, we can move down there. Okay, so I'm gonna stop for a moment. All right, this is a key moment of thought. She said, so they're gonna pay for my move, which told me immediately relocation company. So we are not part of a relocation company, right? A lot of these, like Carson and, I'm a member of a pile of them, I don't even remember. They're through
Grable.
different, yeah, Grable, thank you.
Mhm.
There are different companies that are handling specifically under relocation accounts. So her company may say, you have to use, and when she says have to use, it may not be an option. We're going to list your house and you're going to list it with brand X. Okay, so that's gonna happen, so that needs to ring into your head to ask. If she has not researched it, this is kind of a funky spot where we are right now.
Maybe I shouldn't have thrown that in there, but.
No, you're
It
okay.
happens.
You're okay. It totally happens. It's kind of a funky spot. So we're gonna go forward assuming, dangerous word, I know, that she has researched it and says, yes, I can list my house on my own, and if it doesn't sell, then the relocation company will deal with it from there. Okay, we'll assume that.
Yes.
Now, if she says, well, I need to research this to find out, the honest truth is, I'm gonna stop this appointment right here, right? I'm just gonna stop it right now until she has verified. Now, it's noon. We're meeting at noon. The next question can be, well, let's get your relocation company on the phone. Let's talk to them right now and make sure that you're able to list with me today. Because if you're not, I don't wanna waste your time or my time. I wanna respect your time and I wanna respect your company's time. And I'm gonna stop the appointment.
Has anyone had any experience or anything with the relo company? No, okay.
They do pop up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had experience with reload companies. Fortunately, the one I worked with, they were okay with someone outside their network handling it. It was the seller's choice.
Mhm.
But I still owe them probably about 40%
Mhm.
of my commission.
Mhm.
Yep, and it does happen this way, so it's a valid question,
Yeah.
and it's fine that she brought it up. So we're just gonna assume, as Rod said, that the company is perfectly okay with going outside.
Yeah.
Now, in my head, I need to understand the math for me, is I just donated 40% of my commission.
But
It
if
just-
he's,
it happened.
but if he's not signed up with it, what I said was that I have the option to go with them if my house doesn't sell.
Right,
So I'm giving him the opportunity, and that's why I'm interviewing other realtors. But with a relocation company, what happens is certain agents are assigned with that company. They're on the list, they get the lead, they know that they have to give, they only get 40%, anywhere from 36 to 40% of their commission. The rest of it goes to the seller as an incentive and to the reload company. It's kind of the Tony Soprano method of doing real estate.
yeah, it's a different duck, so we're gonna keep rolling forward with that. Okay, so starting again. So you said the movers are coming when?
Probably in 6 weeks.
6 weeks?
Yeah, so I've got about 6 weeks.
Okay, when do you need to be in Seattle?
I need to be there August 1st.
You need to be there August
Mhm.
1st. You got a little bit of time, not a whole lot though.
Mhm.
Okay, well, that's easy enough. That's not a problem.
Okay.
We can address that stuff. So we previously talked about a couple of things that were a concern for you.
Mhm.
One was gonna be price.
Yes,
The other was gonna be commission,
mhm,
and the other was time.
yes.
Okay, so.
I have
so
until
walk-
August 1st. In terms of commission, I know that generally it's 6%. I'm just wondering if there's something you can do about that to give me an incentive to go with you instead of the group or Remax. I know the Remax agent said that they are able to adjust their commissions.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Let's come back to that if I can have your permission.
Sure.
on that.
Oh,
Okay,
absolutely.
so let's talk about price.
Okay.
So I sent you the CMA, and I
Mhm.
gave you a price range of kind of where we were at, and that was based on I hadn't walked through the house yet. So
Yes.
obviously, there's gonna be some unknowns for me.
Mhm.
And of the couple things that you've done, that we know that they are, those are good maintenance pieces. They aren't gonna add particular cost value to your home, but they add good marketability to your home. So what I see through the age and with what everything else is there, if what I sent you, we'd be looking right about that $410,000 mark from what I'm
Okay.
seeing. So how does, when you hear that, what does that make you see? What do you say by that?
Well, depending on what all this is gonna cost me, I'd like to net a good percentage of, I'd like to make some money on the house.
Okay,
because
so
I-
when you say you need to make good money on the house, do you have a figure in mind from what you paid for the house and what you owe
Yes.
to how much money you need to make right now?
Well, I paid $300 for the house.
Okay?
So if I could, I'd love to make 100,000 on it if I could, but
So you'd like to net $100,000?
yes, if I could.
Okay, if you could, okay. Worst case scenario, the world comes to a screaming halt, the market stops.
Mhm.
What are you willing to accept?
Well, I don't know. I mean, my friends have pretty much convinced me. First of all, they said I should just put a sign in the yard and it'll go quickly, but I'm not comfortable with that. So
Okay,
I would probably say at least 80,000.
okay.
I mean, honestly, the more is better.
No,
I mean,
and of
if
course.
you've ever
we
had a
don't-
client who says, well, I don't care what I make, or, I mean, I'd like to make as much as I can, because I put a lot of, I think, worthwhile things into the house. I've taken good care of it. I might need to give a carpet allowance, but I'd like
Okay.
to do it without any arguing or stress or.
Okay, no, we want to make it as smooth a transition as possible.
Perfect.
Totally get that. So we've talked about time a little bit of, are you going to be able to purchase a new home in Seattle before you sell this one?
I've
Or
already
you
been
have
out
to
on a
sell this
pilot
one?
trip and
Okay.
looked at it. I would just like to not have a house to worry about when I'm in Seattle and this is
Right.
still here and.
Okay, so
Just wanna be free
we've
and
got to
clear of it.
we've got to be free and clear of it
Yes.
so that you can walk out the door August 1st and be ready to go over there.
Yeah, or as close to August as possible. I'm
Okay.
leaving August 1st. If I'm packed and gone, I just don't want it to drag out.
For that, okay, fair
Let's say
enough.
by maybe September,
So
so I
with the
don't
way
have to make
things in
another
this,
mortgage
yeah, so with the way things are moving in this price, in this particular price point,
Mhm.
you're looking at about 18 to 20 days on market, total, from the time that you put the sign in the yard, we get you
Mhm.
turned on, to the time that it goes under contract. Now, that's average days on market. That's
Okay.
based on everything within this neighborhood, in this price point. That's how long it's taking
Really, you
things
can
to sell.
predict that?
Well, we can predict it based on past numbers.
Okay.
So we're able to pull like the CMA that I pulled for you. There are 3 houses in there that went on the
Mhm.
market last month. They were on the market for 19 and 22 and 26 days.
Mhm.
So that tells us the average is 22.
Okay.
So that's what we're looking at right now within this market, is about 20 days, and then it's taking about an average of 30 to 40 days to close on a house.
Mhm.
So that being said, you're gonna need to be on the market really quite quickly to get your goal of being in Seattle on time.
Okay. Would
Also-
you like something to drink?
You know,
Can I drink it?
no, thank you very much. I really appreciate you asking.
Okay.
So, it's not my house, I can't ask her if she wants something. So,
You could just get it and go to the refrigerator and look, but.
yeah, that's real popular. Okay, great. So we're talking about a net price. You'd like to net $100,000 on your
Yes.
house. So we're at about 410,000
Mhm.
at 20. We're looking at a total commission price, if we stick with the 6%, of $22,000. That would net you about $88,000 is where we are in things right now. So you're net, I'm
Okay.
doing quick math in my head. Normally I have my calculator phone, I left my phone away so I didn't interrupt you. So I'm doing the math in my head. So
Okay.
based on this price point, and
Mhm.
all things as they are, you'd be looking at $88,000 net, and you'd be looking at getting into Seattle on time. How
Okay.
does that work for you?
sounds okay, but when I spoke to the Remax person, they said that they have the ability to do it for less.
Okay.
So,
Did they
What are
explain,
you
did they
able to
tell
do?
me what, did they tell you why?
just that
They
they
just-
get 100% commission and it's up to them, they have the
Okay.
ability to do that.
So when you took your job in Seattle, let me
Uh-huh.
ask you this. When they made you a job offer, did you tell them that you'd be willing to do it for less?
Well, no, but I don't work on commission.
Well, how does commission work? That's an hourly wage when it comes right down to it. So are your salary paid, and would you be willing to do your job for less when you get to Seattle? Hourly or salary? Right.
What does a person usually say to that? Has anyone had an experience where they've...
The answer to that is no.
No.
Every time,
Usually
no, I'm
they'll
not
say
willing
no.
to do my job for less.
However, and this is
And-
just a little difference that I have from his presentation, you don't want to be questioning or firing things at the client where they're going to go, well, I asked you a question first, what do you mean, you know? What I usually do with mine, and he's very good because he's maintaining really good eye contact with me, is I ask people, do you understand how real estate works? It's not, we don't just put a sign in the yard and get 6% and, you know, and then go play golf all day.
And I
Do
haven't
you
even gotten to that part
understand?
yet.
Yeah, but just to kind of, that's interesting that Remax would immediately drop their price. And what I will say to certain people, when they say that sort of thing, is I'll say, oh, that's interesting that they would immediately drop a third of what they're going to make. I first of all explained that, yes, it's 6%. It's not a set price. That's just the average in the market. So what we do is, I will take the listing for 6%, and in the event that I am unable to bring a buyer to you for this property, then I will offer a 3% co-op commission to any other realtor who has a qualified buyer. So I'm technically only making 3%. And then when somebody were to say, well, okay, instead of 6%, would you do 5%? And I say, well, I can't really offer less than 3 because other realtors need to make a living and they're representing the buyer and it's just as stressful and you have just as much legal responsibility to your client with that 3%. So I am going to automatically offer 3%. So for someone to say to you that they're going to take a third of their income immediately off, my response to them would be, gee, if they're willing to give up a third of their income, how hard do you think they're going to negotiate for you and your price?
Mhm. But, yeah, that's exactly where we were headed with that.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, no, you're okay,
But-
exactly where.
And sometimes you can tell, like when I don't know if you noticed, but when I sat back and I did this is defensive behavior. This is something when you're reading people with neuro-linguistic programming or anything else, if they say or do something, and I was kind of sitting and listening to him, I was pursing my lips, and then I do one of these. This is defensive, so I'm getting a little testy, pushy, or just read people and try to mimic their behavior. Like if I were to sit back, you can do the same
Oh,
thing.
no, and it's
Or
mirror-
if I
it's
go
mirror
like
match.
this, that, yes, exactly.
It's
So
mirror
you
match.
make them feel comfortable and then ask questions. And just say, that's really interesting. Why, when did they say that? Why did they say that? And make them kind of think about, yeah, why did they kind of all of a sudden drop their pants like that all of a
Right,
sudden?
so when, and I'm glad she brought up the mirror matching thing.
Mhm.
I do it instinctually now, but
Yes.
as she rolled back and went to here, I went to open, I
Mhm.
covered my hands this way, and I went into listen and I'm interested to hear what you have to say mode,
Mhm.
right? I came to her in a little more passive spot, because I pushed her into a place of pain. I did it on purpose, right? I'm comfortable with going that way. If you're not, don't do it.
Yeah.
I'm comfortable with pushing people into a place of pain because it's easy for me to get them to run from pain than it is to jog towards pleasure, right? That's how we work as people. We run from pain and we'll go, well, that ice cream looks pretty good over there and we'll walk over there. But if my car's on fire over here, I'm gonna run over there, right? It's just that's the way that I tend to present it. There's a bunch of different objections for that as well. We didn't specifically talk about the break-in commission because I have a really good one for that.
Mhm.
We were just talking strictly about net, and then she said they'd be willing to do it for less. That's why I went to pain. So that's the direction that I go because I'm comfortable handling those objections. Everybody understand? Everybody cool with that?
Marquis de Sade Real Estate Services.
You just have to be comfortable with it.
Yeah.
So, okay, so we're gonna check back into that with,
Okay.
you know, where even were we? So we were talking about, would you?
You asked me about, well, would you
Yeah,
give up?
would you be willing to
Well,
do
no,
your
I
job
would,
for
no,
us?
I wouldn't. And I
Okay.
understand that, but what exactly does that 6% pay for? What do you,
That's a fair question, let me explain that. I apologize, I normally have 6 business cards in my pocket, I do not have them today. Let's pretend Jake has 6 business cards,
Okay.
right? So, let me explain that in the easiest way that I can. So here's six cards, this represents the total amount of commission paid, right? So we need to offer 3% to the prospective buyer's agents so that they make sure, that we make sure our marketing is reaching them and we're giving them the best possible opportunity to purchase your house.
Yes.
So that 3% is gone. That leaves
Okay.
3% on my side,
yes,
okay? 1% is a dedicated marketing budget. That is how much it costs me to market your home appropriately to get it sold quickly and for the highest price
in the least amount
in
of
the
time.
least amount of time. This second percentage here, I have a marketing staff, and I have an admin staff and a transaction coordinator. I pay their salaries. This is where this comes from. This is my percent. This is what I pay my bills on. This is where I get my money from, and I have to pay 35% to Uncle Sam. So I actually only get a little over half of that particular card is what mine gets paid for. Perfectly okay.
If you hand me a piece of paper, I'm going to show you all a trick that I learned really quickly from
Another
me.
good one.
Sometimes people like visual things.
That's why you use the cards.
The cards, yes. So what I like to do is I take a piece of paper and I go, this is 6%. Okay, and I understand. It used to be 7% in this market. And what it was that the listing agent would take 4% because they had marketing. They had to pay for paper, printing, flyers, open house, all this kind of problem. So here's 6%. 3 and 3. I have to give 3% to the other realtor. Then I'm left with this. I have a cap that I need to pay for my office, which is $18,000 a year, and I'm on a 70-30 split. So I'm going to give that to my broker. Then I've got my errors and omissions insurance, my training, all the expenses that I basically have, which is, I tend to spend about 40% for marketing, and I'm paying for all of the listing costs up front. Unlike if you go to a lawyer, and you're paying the lawyer by the hour, whether your house sells or not, he's going to bill you that are called billable hours. I pay all of that up front, so that's all my marketing expense. Then I've got my staff, and then I've got my office expenses, my insurance, and everything else that I need. And then I've got what I'm going to get, and I have to pay about, like you said, 35% to Uncle Sam. This is what I'm going to get.
Have you ever had anybody say, so?
No,
No.
no,
Because get
they
it
look at that because
as a
you
visual.
explain, as an independent contractor, I'm like a hunting dog. I don't get fed till I go out and hunt. And if that dog don't hunt,
Yeah. Mine is always with the 6
and I,
cards.
yes,
If you would like me to reduce my commission, can you tell me where you can find it?
yes. Or tell me, where do you want me to give it up? I can take it away from paying the brokerage, not having the advertising, the internet marketing, the staff here that answers the calls, the nationwide KW, and you can tell them, we have 3 independent websites, we get internet calls, we're international, all the internet sites, the Iris, everything that you pay for. Did you know that the average realtor spends $25,000 a year on just your fees for NAR, CAR, your board of realtors, your business cards, your overhead, $22,000 to $25,000 a year. I mean, $18,000 is your cap right off the bat. People don't realize that. That's what I have to pay each year to be in business. And then I've got my vehicle, then I've got my business cards, then we're bleeding to death from paper cuts. If you explain to them that's how it works, we have to pay for our coffee, we have to pay for everything. We don't get to work in an office, shut the door and put our feet up on the desk. We're always out, we're like sharks. We're not guppies in a tank being fed sprinkles. We're like sharks, always out hunting and looking. So.
So yeah, with my 6, my next question is gonna be,
Where do you want
you
me
know,
to cut it?
where can you see that I'd be able to cut percentages out of my budget?
Yeah.
That is my next question.
Mhm.
So, you know, where in that, based on that conversation, is there a place that you can see me cutting that out?
No, I guess not. I mean, I do want you to advertise, and I didn't know that you paid for all that up front. So,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, we have to pay for
Yes.
that up front.
And I'm sorry, I don't mean to take food
It's-
out of your children's mouth. I didn't understand how
Nope,
that
and
works.
that's why we wanna make sure that you do. So
Okay.
I wanna make sure it's all totally clear.
Now I'm
Okay.
embarrassed. Are you sure you don't want a shot or a drink or something?
No, but thank you, maybe later. So based on that, with the price point at 410,000, we can net you $88,000,
Mhm.
starting out in that point, and get it sold in the right amount of time. Are
That
you
sounds
comfortable
good.
with that?
Yeah, I think, yes, I'm actually humiliating to the point now where I think I should just listen. One thing that Jennifer Kelly, who's an awesome listing presenter, what she tells people when they start to squabble about commissions and stuff, she says, okay, based on what you've told me for what you'd like to net, how about this? If I get you more than what you want to net for the least amount of aggravation in the shortest amount of time and make you more money, don't you feel that I will have earned a commission?
It's another good one.
She's never had anyone say, oh, no, I don't know. In fact, I would give you a bonus. And she'll say, oh, no, you don't need to do that. But I will, if I can earn what my commission is, you wouldn't have a problem with me making a commission, would you? If I brought you everything you wanted and then dessert? Oh, no, let's go ahead.
Yeah,
And always nod your head when you're talking to people, because then they'll start to, yeah, you're right.
right. So, okay, so based on those, so we've addressed those couple of concerns.
Yes.
Are there any other concerns that you have that I can help address right now? Any other questions that
You
you
know,
have?
honestly, with 3 little boys running through the house, I'm just concerned about trying to keep the house clean all the time. I mean, they just come through like little tornadoes. I'm pretty much resigned to the fact that I'm just gonna clean the house when they all move out. Or set fire to it and call the insurance company.
Well,
So,
let's
I'm
avoid
just
doing that
nervous.
just yet, because that's gonna
Okay.
be tough to get the check.
I'm just
Um,
worried about keeping, I mean,
okay.
it's hard with these little guys
Well,
to keep
let me-
everything clean and,
Fair enough, let me explain my marketing strategy for you.
okay,
I think that's gonna clear up some of those questions, if that's all right.
sure.
So our marketing plan, we have a 2-tiered marketing plan. One is everybody thinks it's just my job to get it sold to just whoever walks in the door. Well, how do we get these people in the door? So one is we market to all of the realtors that have the buyers. So in Fort Collins, there's about 1,200 realtors within the board and another 300 that aren't. So we're gonna market to them. So
Okay.
right now, that tells us there's 1,500 realtors with buyers out there.
Wow.
So we're gonna market very specifically to them. On the second tier, we're gonna market to the general public. That means website, that means publications, that means print, and all of our internal advertising as well as our staffing meetings. So that's our
Okay.
second tier marketing. The way that we do this, today being Thursday, the way that I would want to do this is I would want to wait to put your house on the market until next week. Now let me explain why. The
Okay.
reason for that is that's gonna give us a chance to get, and I can have a moving company come out, help you get started packing, get some of those things squared away for you.
Mhm.
Happy to help you with that. Our listings go in on Wednesdays.
Mhm.
We start marketing on Thursday and Friday. We start doing showings on Saturday. We hold an open house on Saturday. We schedule
Oh, you know, I'm
all-
really nervous about open houses. I've heard horror stories about that.
Tell me about that.
Oh, people come through and take all your medications, steal all your jewelry, clog up your toilet, eat your food, and then the neighbors just come through and want to look. I don't like my neighbors.
Fair enough.
Weird people. Do we have to disclose that they're weird people in this neighborhood?
That's not something that I've ever been aware of. Weird has
Okay.
never come up on there.
There's a
but-
woman down the street, I just don't
Yeah,
want her
so,
in my house.
If you're not comfortable with an open house, I'm perfectly okay with that. That's not a problem.
Okay, good.
We don't have to schedule an open house.
Okay.
We can address that later
Okay.
if that comes up as a concern. So, in the meantime, we'll start marketing on Thursday and Friday. We'll start doing showings on Saturday. We'll schedule them all on Saturday and all on Sunday, so that you only have to be gone and the house has to be cleaned one time.
Okay,
And then we're gonna look at offers coming in on Monday. We're gonna review offers Monday night at 5 o'clock.
okay. Oh, that'll be fun.
How does that sound for you?
That sounds good.
Okay,
Now,
that's,
another thing you can, I'm sorry, Deb.
You're okay.
Another thing you can do is when you tell people, like I had a client once they had a $700,000 house, they said, oh, we have to have lots of open houses, because I know that'll sell it. You have to explain to people, an open house is for 2 reasons. Number one, for people who are afraid to talk to a realtor, or they're just your creepy neighbors who want to come in and look at your stuff and see what's going on and go, oh, it's too much money, or eat your cookies, or just whatever. Or it's for, forgive me, new realtors who are looking for buyers, and they're looking to catch these people who don't have realtors yet. So you can say, I don't know that an open house is going to sell your house. What's going to sell your house is price, condition, and location. And when we're all marketing and sending out to specific spheres and word of mouth, and you can say that as Keller Williams agents, we go out and door knock, we go out and make phone calls. We are hunting dogs, we're not lap dogs, okay? I'm not calling you dogs, but.
yeah,
I'm right here.
so So she told me a couple things within that as well. So based on not wanting an open house, now it's possible that we can get the house ready, that we can have it marketed this weekend. My
Okay.
question for you is, are you going to be comfortable with doing all that work between now and Friday night?
Yes, I've bribed my kids with pizza and going to Fort Fun. If they clean their rooms, and I can get everything picked up and taken care of. I've got a
Okay.
cleaning crew.
Okay,
So,
so I have.
if we can just do it to 2 days like that, I'm willing to bite the bullet and,
Okay, we can do it, we can definitely do it faster. I
Okay.
have my photographer actually scheduled to come out Friday afternoon. I had
Okay.
him on call, so it's not a problem.
wow.
So we can get the photos in and upload it into MLS. We're a little bit short, so I don't expect a lot of showings Saturday morning,
Okay,
but I would expect more on Saturday afternoon. If you're comfortable with that, we can go
Mhm.
ahead and get started on that.
okay.
Okay, so trial closed. So moving forward with that. So at this point, what other objections can I handle? What other questions, comments, concerns do you have?
You know, it all sounds really good, and it sounds like you've got everything lined up and professional. I do kind of still want to talk to the other realtors. A friend of mine said that she knows somebody at the group, and they're like really quite the designer realty company in town. And I guess the Remax guy, I should, although I'm kind of nervous now that you mentioned that how quick he was to drop his commission and what I'd be getting, so.
So based on, when were you gonna talk with the group in Remax?
Friday morning and Friday evening.
Okay, so if you talk to them Friday morning and Friday evening, there's no way they could get your house on the market on Saturday.
That's true.
Because they couldn't get the photographer out here. So if you want to get it done faster, we can just take care of it now. If you would like, I'd be happy to give them a call and let them know that we went ahead and signed the listing agreement and ask them if they have any buyers for your house.
Oh, you would do that?
Absolutely.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, I can give them a call right now if you'd like.
I didn't, the group person was a little snotty about talking to the realtors, but
I'm happy to call them and
Sure.
ask them if they have a buyer for the property.
that would be kind of cool.
Okay.
Okay,
Well, I tell you what, so why don't we just go ahead and work on the listing agreement? We'll get that all squared away.
Okay.
I'll let the photographer know that he can come out at 2 o'clock on Friday,
okay.
and we'll get things moving forward. Are you comfortable with
I think so.
price point and all the terms that we've talked about?
Can we go a little higher, maybe?
Okay, so tell me about that.
Well, 410 sounds like a good deal, but, of course, I'd like to make more money. One of my friends that I was playing bridge with the other day was telling me how they just really put a high price on it, and then they got
Okay.
into a bidding war.
And it can happen two ways. The
Okay.
bidding war can happen two ways. If you price it, so right now we're basing this on your timeline, to
Mhm.
make sure that you can get out of this place and cleanly into Seattle by August
Mhm.
1st. So we're
Mhm.
priced appropriately right now.
Okay,
And by pricing it appropriately, we're gonna get more showings, and by asking for all offers to be Monday,
Mhm.
we should be able to help drive that price up a little bit.
okay.
So that's the point in that. If we list it
I
too
see.
high,
Mm-hmm.
we may not get as many showings. If we start out with a price that's entirely too high,
Mhm.
we're not gonna have as many showings, you're not gonna get to Seattle in August.
That makes sense, okay.
So, okay, well, let's go ahead and take care of
Oh,
that.
I have one question though about it says that this is a contract and I should contact a lawyer and all this. If I sign this and I suddenly change my mind, are you gonna sue me, or can I?
No, let's go through the contract
Okay.
line by line, and as you have questions, we'll make sure that we address them. I wanna make sure
Okay.
that you're taken care of that way. If you would like to have an attorney review it, I can certainly give mine a call, and we can have, or you can have your attorney give him a holler, and we'll go ahead and talk to him about it.
Okay, that sounds fine.
Okay, so we signed listing paperwork, that's the point. So,
I really like you. Are you sure you don't want a drink?
actually I do, if you can hand me that one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, ooh, vodka, yeah.
Does anyone have any questions
Yes,
so far?
questions about
Oh,
what
yes.
that was.
Okay, so way back,
Mhm.
10 minutes ago or whatever,
God, has it been that long?
you just started, like, kind of